Have you ever seen the slow-motion collapse of someone's world? Yes, I have. I actually planned it. I'm sitting in my parked car right now, across from the priciest restaurant in town, LeBlanc. I can see my wife, Jessica, sitting with her lover, Howard, through the wide windows. I got her a black outfit for our anniversary last month, and she's wearing it. I don't miss the irony. Her well-practiced and flawless laughing fills the restaurant, similar to the deception she has been leading. It is 8:15 p.m. when I check my phone. Everything is in motion. Her meticulously built house of cards is about to collapse. For now, though, I observe. Tonight, Jessica looks amazing. When she meets him, she always does. Her dark hair catches the warm restaurant lighting as it falls in, gentle waves. She's grinning. I thought that particular smile was mine alone. Howard leans in, most likely muttering something witty. Jessica is unaware of his marriage, but she gave him an expensive watch that catches the light. Not quite yet. I move my finger over the send button. The message is straightforward. It will soon be over, so enjoy this evening. Her phone buzzes on the table and I watch. Did you see that there? The tiny recoil? The brief break in her flawless exterior. I notice the first glimmer of fear in her eyes as she reads the message. Howard is unaware of it. He is too preoccupied with being charming and enmeshed in his own deception to notice Jessica's fingers, shaking as she puts down her phone. He is unaware that his entire universe is on the verge of collapsing. They settle at a table nearby. Jessica's sister, cousin, uncle, and other family members. They are there for a reason, even if they haven't spoken or even given her a direct glance. It's all part of my strategy. I send out another message. Did you really believe this would go unnoticed? Jessica's disguise starts to come off a bit more. Her wine glass trembles a little as she raises it to her lips and looks around anxiously. Even though the evening has only started, she is already losing her mind. Exactly what I had intended. You see, retaliation isn't about big altercations or furious disputes. Watching someone drown in their own falsehoods, one well-planned, moment at a time, is what true retaliation is all about. And I'm going to show my wife exactly what happens if you think I'm weak because I'm patient. Do you want to know how it all began? How I found out about their romance? And above all, how did I orchestrate the ideal retaliation that would ruin not only their romance but their entire worlds? Let me explain how I gave my cheating wife the impression that she was protected before disclosing everything. Allow me to take you back to the initial moment that destroyed my trust and initiated this plot of retaliation. Assent was the first thing that happened. Jessica arrived home late from what she described as a supper with friends a month ago. There was a change when the clock read 11:45 p.m. I caught her leaning into Kiss Me Goodnight, an unusual, pricey, and very macho perfume. I believe it was Hermes. I've thought about purchasing it once, so I know. However, I hadn't, and my wife's clothing still had that smell. That's where most men would have erupted, demanded responses. Made a scene. I'm not most males, though. One thing I've learned from my 20 years in business law is that patience shows what emotion hides. I simply kissed her back and watched her vanish into our bathroom without saying anything. I woke up that night with a racing mind. A smell that didn't belong might potentially ruin 6 years of marriage, many vows and aspirations of raising a family. However, I opted for observation rather than conflict. And over the course of the following few weeks, I saw an incredible performance. Jessica believed she was being shrewd. She would constantly keep her phone face down, erase her messages, and answer calls in a different room. However, she failed to see the little things, such as the way she would smile at her phone when she believed I was not looking. Her habit of dressing up for client meetings that didn't fit into her job schedule. Her fitness app failed to record the extra hour she spent at the gym. I began to keep a journal. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Sarah and I had dinner. However, Sarah shared photos from a family meal across town. Friday at 2 p.m., meeting with a client. However, her staff verified that there were no booked meetings. Little lies accumulating like proof in a case I never meant to construct. The credit card statements followed. She allegedly visited a hotel bar, an uptown boutique, and the LeBlanc restaurant while she was away. Every revelation was a twist of a knife. However, I remained calm and did a fantastic job as the trusting husband I needed. Details, not proof, which is why I hired a private investigator. Within days, Howard's name surfaced. He was a business lawyer similar to me, but known for taking chances. I found out that she was married to the daughter of a real estate tycoon. Jessica didn't realize how much he stood to lose. Yes, the betrayal was painful, but it also made me more precise in my calculations, which I generally saved for my most difficult instances. A plan started to take shape as I gathered evidence. To ruin their entire lives in a single, well-planned evening, not merely to reveal their affair. Did they want to engage in some gaming? All right. I would demonstrate what a true player is capable of. Mike? One evening, my planning was disrupted by Jessica's voice. Is everything all right? These days you look aloof. I grinned, just as she did when she read her private messages. I said, everything is perfect retaliation. Like justice, is best served cold, therefore it would be soon. Not learning about the affair was the most difficult aspect. It was acting as though I was unaware. I spent weeks preparing the elements of my retaliation while honing my part as the unaware husband. I knew, like a chess master, that timing was crucial. I started by contacting Jessica's family. Since the death of her parents, she had looked to her Uncle James as a father figure. One morning, I brought a hefty manila envelope and invited him to coffee. I passed. Pictures across the table and added, I wish I didn't have to show you this. Howard and Jessica are entering text message logs, restaurant receipts, and hotel information. As her uncle went over each piece of evidence, his hands shook. His voice was heavy with disappointment as he mumbled, she's following her mother's footsteps. Within a few years, Jessica's mother had ruined their family. History was being repeated. I told him, I need your aid. Our marriage is beyond rescuing, not to save it, but to teach her that there are repercussions for her acts. As I explained my strategy, I saw his face change from one of rage to comprehension. The calls were placed by her uncle. Jessica's closest relatives were on board in a matter of hours. Emma, her sister David, her cousin, and his spouse. They were fully aware of their positions. No conflict, no drama. Their quiet condemnation, more damaging than any words, was evident in their presence at LeBlanc tonight. Charlotte, Howard's wife, followed. That was more difficult. I didn't go straight to her. Rather, I supplied evidence of his affair with 3 other people, in addition to Jessica, anonymously. I learned that Charlotte was in charge of their marriage's purse strings. Everything about Howard's life, including his work, hinged on her family's ties. I went to the leasing office for our apartment the day before the dinner scenario. There were benefits to being the only name on the lease. I received my termination documents, which went into effect right away, within an hour. Particularly after I brought up infidelity, the property manager showed empathy. I observed Jessica packing an overnight bag that night. Tomorrow, a business trip? I inquired informally. Just having dinner with customers, she lied with ease. Avoid waiting up. I kissed her forehead and drew her close. I advised you wear the black dress I got you. You look stunning in that. Her eyes danced with excitement and remorse as she grinned. Well thought out. I texted her one last time to confirm our dinner reservations at LeBlanc as she was leaving. There are 2 tables, one for her family and one for the lovers. I then gave the relocation firm a call. I had already packed the boxes, and they would come tomorrow morning to pick them up. Everything was in place. Jessica would discover tomorrow that sometimes the most ruthless retaliation is carried out in silence rather than with rage. The scene was prepared. The actors were there. It was now time to watch the performance start. I saw Jessica check her phone for the 10th time through the window of the restaurant. Her immaculately manicured fingers shook a little. Her entire body tensed as I sent her the first message. Isn't the truth always revealed? Howard was in the middle of laughing as he related a story about his most recent legal triumph. He was unaware that his own wife was going to ruin him. Jessica's phone rang with the second message. Turn to your left. Remember that family always comes first. I witnessed the very moment she became aware of them. 3 tables away, her Uncle James, Sister Emma, Cousin David, and his spouse are seated with dejected expressions on their faces. Jessica had to put down the wine glass she was holding because it was shaking so much. Is everything all right? Gorgeous? Ignorant of the storm that was building all around him, Howard inquired. A third buzzing message. Did you really believe that the hotel meetings would go unnoticed? Jessica's complexion turned white. She gazed at her family once more, but they turned their heads away on purpose. No screaming bout could have been as devastating as the silence. The background noise of the restaurant appeared to mock the stress. Glasses clinking, light-hearted laughter, as Jessica's life started to fall apart due to meticulously planned peace. Howard's phone buzzed next. His wife's message was straightforward. Examine your email. In 20 minutes I want you home. As he opened his inbox, I saw a change in his expression. All of his mistress's texts, hotel receipts, and pictures, not just Jessica's. His carefully constructed falsehood was coming undone. I must leave. Already on his feet, Howard stumbled. The self-assured attorney had vanished, to be replaced by a terrified man who was on the verge of losing everything. With a mixture of terror and bewilderment in her eyes, Jessica reached for his hand. Howard didn't even glance at her, as he virtually sprinted out of the restaurant, but he was already flinging money on the table. Her phone lit up when I sent her my next message. Your knight in shining armor appears to be an abandoned ship. Everyone in Jessica's family rose up at once, their seats scuffing the ground. Slowly, they passed her table, each one's silence piercing more deeply than words could. Emma, her sister, took a moment to put a small envelope next to Jessica's wine glass. It contained a picture of Jessica and Howard that I had sent them, showing them cuddling outside that pricey hotel. She nearly dropped her phone because her hands were shaking so much after the last message I sent. Make no effort to return home. You have packed your boxes. I saw reality crashing down around her through the window. The lovely mask she had been wearing for months broke apart. When she tried to call Howard, the call went straight to voicemail. They had previously blocked his number. She fumbled with her handbag, barely able to sign the check, tears streaking her flawless makeup. Before I drove off, I sent one final SMS. The lease has ended. You can pick up your belongings until tomorrow. I saw her in my rearview mirror as I was leaving the restaurant. She was the strong, self-assured lady who believed she could trick me. But now she was broken and alone. Anger and violence don't make for the ideal kind of retaliation. It is patiently and precisely served chilled. What about mine? I had a perfect 0.